What path would you tell people to go on as far as that, like education is concerned?
Find something you love. Like, obviously you love this industry. I didn't realize back when I started Salvatore's, I thought Fred's Meat Market was my future. Fred was going to retire someday and that was going to be my baby. And when Fred decided that that wasn't the direction he wanted, I thought, hey, you know, there's not enough pizzerias around here. There's no pizzerias around here. Let me put a pizzeria here. But later on in life, I realized that as a kid, you know, the once a week where my dad would take us for a pizza, I was eating it all up. And we had some cousins that moved to East Rochester, and we go visit them. And I was determined to go check out the pizzerias in East Rochester. So I think in my head, you know, without really realizing it as a kid, I loved the pizza industry. And as I learned more about it and I got more into it, that was my passion. It wasn't about money. I didn't do it for money. I didn't even understand the money to be made. I did something I loved.
What was the pizzeria market in Rochester when you started Salvatore's? What did it look like? How much competition did
Our
you
main
have?
competitors back then were Captain Tony's, Paredes, and one other one that I can't remember right now. But there was a Paredes that was like a bar restaurant somewhere in the city. And there was a
Paredes that's still out. That's still open.
No, it was in the city somewhere. Same family though, I believe. And there was Bay and Goodman Pizza. So those are the three monsters around, and that was it. And none of them delivered because back in the early '70s or late '60s, delivery became dangerous. So none of them delivered. So we tried everything to build our sales, and I was struggling with it. And I started to deliver because nobody was delivering because I had to out of necessity. You know, my 13-year-old, 14-year-old brother was working in the kitchen. I would be the only one old enough to drive, so I'd be the delivery guy. So I started delivering, and then there was a pizza show in '83, I think, or '82 in Florida, and I went to this pizza convention, and I saw these new items that Rochester hadn't seen yet. Pizza logs and chicken fingers and, you know, all these things that no one ever did here. So most pizzerias back when I started were just pizza. Some had beer and wine, but you go out for a pizza. It was a pizzeria. Nobody had chicken wings. We were the first ones to put fryers in Rochester in 1978, do chicken wings and do, you know, pasta dinners. A few of them had subs, but we baked our own sub bread. But well, I think how I got lucky, back to the luck thing, is I had a couple customers that changed my life about marketing. One guy would come in, hippie dude, tattoos and everything, come in for lunch, and then people would come in and say, hey, they were talking about your meatball sub on the radio. I'm thinking, radio? I have no money for radio. Well, come to find out that hippie dude was Brother Wease, and he lived across the street in one of the apartments, and he would do CMF in the afternoons or at night, late night, and he would talk about us. So then I realized, wow, this radio thing kind of works. Another time, this well-dressed man came in. I figured he was maybe a lawyer to repossess something I owned because things were pretty bad back then. And come to find out, it was Andrew Langston, the founder of WDKX Radio, which was up the street. And we did a trade for radio spots for food. He would feed his staff, do giveaways, but it was mainly for his staff. And we got free ads. And next thing you know, it just started taking off. So I had the recipes. I had the right food. I just, no one knew about it and nobody would give us a chance because, you know, we're on East Main Street. And if you go by there today, it's still dead. It's one of our busiest locations, but the street itself, there's no traffic there. But I knew that area because Fred's Meat Market was across the street. So it all happened kind of by accident, but it wasn't a prime location. But to get people to know about it, the radio obviously helped, and later on TV helped, and but that changed everything. And to this day, we opened a new store between now it's social media, it's everything. It's everything helps. But back then it was just you could buy an ad on CMF, an ad on Channel 13 News, an ad in the DNC, and everybody would know who you are.
Right.
Well, I just didn't know that back then. Now I tell everyone it's hard, man. I mean, if you're a new business to get your brand out there, there's so many different forms of marketing. It's hard. Where back in my era, it was easier. If you could figure out a way to scrounge up the money, it was pretty easy to get your brand out there because everybody was watching or listening to those three main forms of marketing.
But going back to the education thing, you think about how everything changed for you. You went to a pizza convention in Florida. You went to learn more about what you do. And to be constantly learning and, you know, there's some people in their field and they're like, I know everything. I'm an expert, you know, and I believe that you never stop learning. You're always learning. Even if you've been doing it for 40, 50 years, you can always learn something new, even from someone who's younger. You never know.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You went to this pizza convention and chicken fingers and logs and all this kind of stuff that it's amazing to me that nobody was doing that at that point. You know, I think about it and I'm like, pizza places have always had those. Yeah. They haven't.
No, they haven't. If you look at some of the old menus, they haven't. But I'm going in March to the pizza convention in Vegas. My grandson, my son, my cousin Ray, and his two sons that are coming up the business. So, and we're going to look at what's the newest things that are out there. Our computers and all the things that we've used that every year we go to the pizza show and we snag an idea that we could bring back here and make our stores better.